All right, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach.
My first statement, and probably get me in trouble like always, is I was very disappointed in the crowd tonight. I thought the people that were here were fantastic. Our student section was great as always, but that's Oral Roberts, and with the history we have, normally when we play Oral Roberts, we're sold out, so I was really, when they told me today it wasn't going that good, I was surprised, and then to see it, I was a little disappointed just that, this team is a very, very good basketball team, a very good entertaining team. You're going to see great athleticism, blocks, dunks, three-point shooting. So I know we're a big game crowd, but I was really a little disappointed in our fan base tonight. So having said that, I was very pleased with our basketball team. I thought that we've been struggling offensively, and we're averaging 85 points a game. So it's hard to say you're struggling offensively. We play 77 possessions. We're averaging 85 points a game. That's really good. But for Oakland, the flow of it isn't what we normally have. And we have some guys struggling with their jump shot and finding their roles. But our defense is fueling that. How many runouts did we get? How many transition baskets did we get that allowed us? I thought we played very poorly on offense in the first half. We had 50 points. So the sky's the limit for this team. I think we've got a chance to really, really be good because we're so good on defense and we can guard the ball and pressure the ball so well. We do some stupid stuff now and then, but what team doesn't? I really, really like our ball pressure and the way we get after the basketball. And then when you got Isaiah and Brad and Xavier back there, and even Jalen will block one now and then, but you've got those intimidating factors protecting the rim, that our front guys can really get after the ball because they feel confident if they get beat, somebody will swat it. So really pleased with tonight.
Questions for the student athletes?
It's been 4 games now, I think, for you in the starting lineup. What, if anything, is different as a starter? And do you feel like at this point of the season you're finally starting to shake some of the rust off that maybe you've accumulated over the last couple of years?
Well, nothing's really different. I'm just going out there playing my role and doing what I have to do. But I'm definitely a lot more comfortable now. These past 4 games have been good for me. Just rebounding, trying to get scrap buckets. But other than that, it's just playing my role basically.
It's be nice to start both halves with a dunk. You probably take that every time.
Oh, every time.
Sean, did you feel? Coach mentioned those runouts. Is that where you felt like the offense really started to click a little bit? Is you got a couple easy baskets, a couple of bunnies, and then it looked like your shot picked up after that, and you started hitting some threes. Is that the moment where you saw that the offense maybe got a little flow?
Yeah, we talked about it in the locker room. Coach said Bugs, Braylon Nilly came into the game and changed the game with his ball pressure. So after we saw that, we was getting out in transition. Our offense picked up. So we got a lot of easy buckets on them runs.
Yeah, you guys have been out of the Summit League long enough that this would not have been a league game at any time in your career, right?
No.
Yeah, you remember how this used to be the rivalry, though.
Yeah.
We made sure they knew that, but I told them both teams, the players, wouldn't know.
Sure.
But we talked about the history of what Oral Roberts was and how many unbelievable games we played last second. Either way, they kept us out of the NCAA tournament. We kept the best team in their history out of the NCAA tournament. So they understood, and we knew that Oral Roberts' coaching staff understood too. So.
Did you kind of feel that intensity at any point in the game? Or early on, it seemed like it was kind of an intense game.
We knew going into the game it was an intense game. Coach told us about the rivalry and the history between these two teams. So I feel like that was on the back of our mind going into this game. We had to come out and have that edge and have that chip on our shoulder to get the win tonight.
That defensive stretch right there at the end of the first half where you held them to 5 points in the last 4 minutes or so and held them scoreless right there. Is that maybe one of the better stretches defensively you played this season? Or where would that stack up as some of the quality defense you guys have played?
Tonight I think we had fun on defense. We was playing for each other. We was out there, pressuring the ball, sending guys to the rim. Our big guys was blocking shots which fueled our runs. So I feel like we just had fun on defense and had each other back.
Coach mentioned when your back line is back there to help protect the rim, How much of a momentum play can a block shot like that be? I mean, it's one of those that kind of fires up the entire team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great because we got guys that can score in the open court. So when we send guys down there against Isaiah can jump out the gym, Brad can jump out the gym. So, you know, it's good things for our team. It fuels every run. So, you know, I feel like we just build off that, and it's good for our team.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Thanks, guys. Questions for Coach?
So, Coach, it seemed like throughout the game Martez wasn't at, you know, what we're used to seeing him. I think he seemed, you know, kind of frustrated. So, what was the source of it?
Well, that's what makes this team so good is that, you know, here's our leading scorer, our star, having a bad night. And then, you know, normally if that happens and you're in a struggle and you're trying to just find a way to win a game, and we don't care. Anybody out there can have a bad night. We're so deep, and we've got so many good players that, hey, Martez, it's okay to have a bad night. You know, keep your head up, and that next one's going to go in. You know, I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, Jalen was very good tonight, very typical Jalen, quiet, 18 points, 6 rebounds. But the guy that really had a phenomenal game for us in only 22 minutes was Stevie. Stevie had 4 or 5 from the floor, 2 or 3 from the three. He made 2 big threes in the run late in the half. He 9 assists and 2 turnovers. And both his turnovers were trying to make great plays. And you, like I said about the excitement of our team, that behind-the-back pass he threw was as good a pass as I've ever seen thrown in this building. And I'm going to tell you something. You look at the point guards we've had, NBA, Jonathan Jones with a long career in Europe, we've had some great point guards, and I've never seen a pass like that in this building. So I just thought Stevie was phenomenal tonight, had 22 quiet minutes, and, you know, so you can just go down the roster. As Sharon said, Braylon came in and really fueled it, you know, got us going, and there's 11 guys out there, they all play, and you look at the minutes, the most anybody played was 22, and the least anybody played was 15. I mean, it's when you can do that, you're going to wear people down.
Greg, how much freedom do you give Stevie Clark? Because, you know, you had, like you said, great point guards and systems and philosophies, but it seems like
Well,
he kind of do what he wants right now.
He's getting more and more with his play, but, you know, Stevie's got to learn me, and I've got to learn him, and we had a little run in Alaska, and, you know, I think it made us both better in coaching each other. You know, I mean, Stevie's a high major talent. We all know that. And he's just going to improve and get better. And he played under control tonight, played the way I want him to play. And the more he plays like that, the more freedom he's going to get. I told him the other day, I said, by the time Felder was out here, I was letting him call sets. And I'm not ready to let you do that. You know, he wants everything right away. And he'll learn, and, you know, it's a growth thing between us. He's a really good player. And, you know, he's from Oklahoma City, which is only an hour from Tulsa, so I kind of figured he was going to play well tonight.
Greg, with about 7 minutes and a half left in the game, you seem very emphatic in the timeout with the team. What were you seeing on the floor, and what message were you trying to get to the team?
Well, it became mop-up time, and we don't do that. Those 5 guys that are out there, those guys are expected. We're not going to win a championship unless those 5 guys can play. So for them to go out, and we had a 2-minute period where they didn't play, they were just going through the motions, and we're not going to allow that. You know, because those guys, if that was 3 walk-ons and some of the other teams I've had where they were, the only time they ever get to play is in a blowout, I wouldn't have said anything. But those 5 guys we need. And I needed them to play like they did at the end of the first half instead of just going like Braylon changed the game for us, and in the last 7 minutes he's coasting out there, and that kid got by him a couple times. And that shouldn't happen. And so I calmly let them know that. Anything else?
What did you learn from your basketball team from the trip to Alaska, especially after that tough loss to Nevada?
Well, I learned that if we would just step up and make free throws, we'd be undefeated at this time against the team that was picked second in the Mountain West. So we think we can play with anybody. We're still a young team that's learning. You know, the reality of it is we have 1 senior, we have 4 or 5 guys that are playing. You know, Isaiah's a freshman, Braylon's a freshman. So we believe that our ceiling isn't even in sight yet. You know, we came back from there feeling pretty good about ourselves, and I think tonight showed that. I mean, it was a struggle early. They had 15 points with 11 minutes to go, and we had 15 with 11 minutes to go in the half, and it ended up 50-31. So we made a great spurt because of our defense.
earlier you mentioned, you know, bringing in the underclassmen and the end of the both halves. Is the source of that is because you want to get them some more experience because you need them?
No, we've been doing that, other than the Nevada game where I kind of went into, you know, we were playing a team that was ranked very highly. We're kicking their tail, and I probably hurt us that night because I went into survival mode and just win, and I didn't substitute as freely as I have during the season. And I learned a lesson from it, is we need to substitute because we got tired down the stretch. And the strength of this team is the ability to tire. At the pace we play is the ability to tire somebody else out. There aren't going to be a lot of teams that go 11 deep like we do. So our strength is to get into the last 8 minutes of a game fresh while they're dead, and then just beat on them. And it's worked. And the Nevada game, I didn't do that. We still should have won the game. You miss 4 straight free throws and then turn it over with a 4-point lead. And you're going to lose to a good team. So we learned a lesson from it. I learned, and with every team, as a coach, you learn with the team. And the whole thing is to grow until March, and then you're the best in March. And I think the great thing about this team is there's a lot of, as I said, a big ceiling, a lot of growth, and I'm going to learn a lot about them too in our substitution pattern.
Any more questions? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.